What cool things could we do that's funny that'll make people watch this video?
We could make a tower.
Little tower. I don't think people would like that. They might switch off. Which ideas?
We could make the turtles fight.
Fight? What, with weapons?
No. With their
I don't.
paws.
I think we'd get reported and shut down. Anything else?
No.
What about a joke?
Yeah.
Knock.
Who's that?
Turtley.
Turkey.
Totally bodacious, dude! No. So today we're going to be talking about turtle care. And if you found this video, then you're either worried about your turtle care or you're looking into getting a turtle. And the first thing I want to tell you is stop worrying. Most problems are caused by people panicking that they haven't got this, they haven't got that, and what I want to tell you is if you're doing to the best of your knowledge what you think is right, then you're on the right track. And by finding videos like this, that means that you're wanting to learn or wanting to find out what the proper care is. So don't panic. One of the first problems people encounter is they don't understand the size that their turtle is going to get. As the turtle grows, they realise either they panic and they want to get rid of the turtle, so they do the unthinkable and put that in a river or lake or reservoir or whatever's nearest to them, rather than actually giving them the care that they need if they've got the right advice. Now, if you're one of the people who's bought a 10-gallon tank and you now know that that's not good enough, then don't panic. Don't try to get rid of your turtle. Stay tuned. Work towards that. That turtle will be very happy once it's in that environment that you give it. But for now, how do you get that environment? Now, you don't have to go and buy brand new, and you don't have to go and get a tank that costs £800, £1,000, £1,500. There is plenty of aquariums and cabinets, everything that you need right there on the Facebook Marketplace, right there on Amazon and places like this where you can find good deals. Now, obviously, if you're going to buy something that's cheap, as in something that is advertised as something that it can't adequately deal with, then you're going to run into problems yet again. So what you want to do is you want to find out what is the ideal size tank for the turtle that you've got, which species. So what size is it going to get up to? Now, the rule is 10 gallons per inch of shell. So if your turtle's maximum is going to be 6 inch, then you want a 60-gallon tank. And how do you get that 60-gallon tank? But how do you get your 60-gallon tank? Well, your first stop would be to have a look. How much is that on Facebook Marketplace? How much is that on Pre-Loved? Spock is a good place. And there's plenty of tanks available at not very expensive prices. Now, you don't have to rush out and immediately get that tank. And if you really want to keep your turtle because it's part of your family, what do you think's better? Staying in an adequate tank temporarily until you get that, or dumping it somewhere? Because let me tell you, if you cared enough to give that turtle the care and attention and everything that it needs, to then dump it is not the right thing on anybody or anything. The right thing to do is to see whether you can accommodate that. And for some people it is a learning curve. Some people are sold what they believe is a must, and because they don't have the knowledge, they've been sold a yellow belly slider. There's a difference. So that's the first thing. Don't panic and see where you can get to. Now, a lot of people will, a notorious thing is people searching for the cheaper alternatives, and there really isn't a cheaper alternative than what there is. If you look for cheaper alternatives, you can find things, but they don't do the job you want. perfect example is if you went on Amazon looking for a UV, UVA, UVB lamp, and you'll be found, you'll see a £15–20 lamp with the combined bulb, and what it doesn't do is disperse the light and the heat to the areas, and not in enough area and not the right amounts of heat, or UVA, UV. It doesn't give the right amounts, and it causes things like respiratory infection is one of the main ones, and you'd be surprised how hard that can hit a turtle. I had one who just finished recovering from a respiratory infection, and that's took some battling. When you've got a turtle that doesn't want to eat, is struggling for breath, doesn't want to do the normal things, and it's frustrating because you're trying to feed it and you know that feeding it will give the end result of it getting better, but it doesn't want to feed it, it doesn't want to take the medicine. That's a very long, hard slog to go through. Turtles are hardy creatures, but especially with hatchlings, they can't take too much, so you've got to be very, very careful. So firstly, you can't skip on things like a £20 UVA UVB lamp that doesn't give adequate resource to the turtle. You need to be investing in the right kit. Personally, I'd recommend getting a Joule Dome, you get a Repson 10 and a Turtle Tough 90 watt halogen, and that would be the ideal setup. That's what I would recommend. Species dependent, but if you take those shortcuts, yes, you may save some money. You may save £30–40 by doing it that way. Great, you save £30–40. You haven't, because you've still got to spend that £30–40 when you realise it's not doing the job. Unfortunately, that happens. Unfortunately, it happens that people make the mistake and sometimes can't come back from that mistake because the turtle is too far gone. And people who are seeking this out, who have got one of those, you know by setting this video out, you're either doing something wrong or you want to get better at something, and that's the whole point. So you know, watching this, that you want to improve that. So go for the recommended, because there isn't any shortcuts. Tanks one, UVB, UVA lamp. Species, knowledge, that's another one. So before you purchase your turtle, before you go to wherever it is you may go, you want to know how big that turtle is, how long that turtle is likely wanting to fast for, what it eats, what's its diet, what you shouldn't do, all those things. The other thing, especially in the UK, we don't have the variety of turtles provided to us as do in the USA. One click, and in USA, in America, you can get 30, 40, 50 different species, different morphs, different colours, albinos, whatever it is, you can at a click find those. Here, what a lot of people do is see, for example, a diamondback. So a diamondback terrapin, and they want one, they can't find one, and what they end up doing is settling for something, and what they settle on, which tends to be in this country, is a musk turtle. And musk turtles are great, yeah, absolutely fantastic, but if it's not what you set out to get and you're making do, just take a look on Pre-Loved, on Gumtree, on Spot, on any place that can sell turtles, and it's musk turtles. And they predominantly are something that people get, and it's not what they wanted. A lot of people will get a musk when they wanted a musk turtle. Let's not say that they're not great animals, they are. But it's the exact same opposite, that if you wanted a musk and you got a diamondback, chances are that you'll want the musk, and the diamondback will be the one that suffers from that. But because of the predominance of musks stocked in this country, that's what tends to happen. So patience and knowledge is a great thing, knowing how to look after that. I mean, there is totally different care needs for different species of turtles. Now, if I was to sit here on a turtle care video and go through every single species, the video would be very long, so you need to know that. I mean, I can only give you a general overview, We will probably get into things about map turtles and pink belly sardinets and diamondback terrapins in future videos, but as a general rule, you need that knowledge. The other dangerous thing is you see a lot of scaremongering. So somebody will come on one of the forums, one of the groups, commenting on these videos, Twitter, any social media place, and they will show that they're set up, and rather than actually talking to the person about it, they're berated out and told that they're not fit to look after. Now, my experience, that's not the way you teach people or talk to people about their setup. And a little bit of knowledge, for example, somebody who's very knowledgeable in pink belly sardinets may have no knowledge of the care of a map and vice versa, and for those people to come on and give that advice when their knowledge is on a different species can do a lot of damage, and can panic the person. So rather than actually talking to the person and actually having a conversation, that can lead to the turtle being dumped, whether they know it or not. So a little bit of knowledge is sometimes too dangerous, and we're all learning. Every single person is learning. I don't care how much experience you've got, everybody's learning. I'll give you a great example of Camp Kennan. Camp Kennan, I watch, I love. I think it's a great show. I think he's great, very knowledgeable, loves turtles. But he will say to himself, he will say to you, he's not experienced in turtles in tanks. He loves them in ponds. That's, you know, the climate out there in Florida is great for them. When you give him a tank turtle, or a turtle that he's going to put in a tank, his knowledge is not that great in how to combat certain elements, and so he's learning. He learns, he goes to people, he visits certain people. Nobody ever has the full knowledge, and anybody that thinks they do, it's a dangerous game to play. I don't have the superior knowledge. I'm learning all the time. I'm learning about pink belly sardinets right now. I have two very, very tiny little baby sardinets. Somewhere up there you'll see the unboxing video. Just here, link that's worth watching. Very much tinier than we expected, but I'm learning. And so, if I'm learning and you're learning, then there is no right in there that somebody has a superior knowledge and you tell somebody what to do. But by doing your research, by going to several sources and getting the answers, you'll get what you need, and you'll know what you need to set up. So the best advice really in turtle care is one, so research the turtle, the proper tank size, the proper lighting, how often that species is going to bass, what are the do's and don'ts of the food, what is the correct diet, how often should you feed, when should you separate feeding from every day to every other day, what are any requirements that you need. If you're thinking about community with fish, do those fish go with that turtle? Because there is certain turtles that can go with certain fish at certain ages, and there is an age-old argument about that, about what turtles can go with what, and you'll get some who are predominantly don't mix turtles together, don't mix turtles with fish, don't do this, don't do that. But really that's an opinion, because there is successful people who have managed to cohabit fish, or have different species, or have multiple, because it's always species dependent. Would I have a musk? Would I have several musks together? No. No. They don't want to be. Would I have several pink belly sardinets together? Definitely. Would I have several diamondbacks? Yes, absolutely. So it depends. Would I mix them? It depends on the animal and the situation. So do all your research, get everything together, get your knowledge, and then make the purchase. And most importantly, be patient for the species that you want. Don't settle for a species you don't, and make that animal suffer in the long run, because they will become available. All you have to do is wait, be patient, do your research, and find an animal, and it will come available. There will be several breeders, reptile specialists, turtle specialists that will come across those. So be patient, do that. I hope more than anything, to anybody that's watching this video, it just settles any nerves, stops any panic, and just makes people just take a step back and think about things. Because you should never dump a turtle in a river, absolutely not. But if that's a contemplation in your mind, if I only change one person's mind from dumping that turtle, then that's job done. We will be going into some specifics in later videos, so I hope that's helped. Please drop a like, please tell me what you think, drop a comment, subscribe as well, it does help, it enables me to make future content. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you on another episode. Over and out. Big Blair is a crazy turtle man.